Booga 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 booga. Hello.
Oh, hi.
Yes, that was
What a surprise to see you.
yes, I know. I accidentally clicked the wrong buttons, and it's obviously showing that I'm learning new software.
Right.
Hi.
Hi.
So who are you?
My name is Paul Tchaikovsky, and I am a managed OpenShift black belt at Red Hat. Sorry, I'm still recovering from our sudden surprise beginning.
And we've even got a reference to it too. Thank you, Corgi Anarchy. Yes, that was me clicking the wrong buttons. Sorry about that. And hi, yes, I'm JJ. I'm a developer advocate for the IBM Cloud, and we are here to do some OpenShift and cloudy stuff. Today is actually going to be interesting. A little bit different than we normally do. So what are we planning on doing today, Paul?
I have no idea. What are we doing? I think you have a OpenShift cluster up on Azure, right? Is that correct?
I do. Believe it or not, there's more clouds out there than IBM Cloud. Did you know that?
I have heard that. I still don't quite believe it myself, but I have heard that. I feel like the others are probably just a flash in the pan, and
It's true.
at the end of the day, there'll just be two standing, and that'll be IBM Cloud and Oracle Cloud.
Exactly. Well, I also hear this whole internet thing is a fad that we shouldn't be, doing anything on this because it's just
JJ, you're taking the joke too far. You need to quit while you're ahead.
Okay, all right.
Classic JJ.
That's true. It's true. But yes, awesome. So I spent today playing around with some Azure, and as Paul said, got a cluster up and running. I did the typical workflow. I can go ahead and send the link here in the chat here in a moment. If you're curious on how to get OpenShift up and running on Azure, but there's actually some interesting differences that Azure has compared to AWS or IBM Cloud. And one of them is they have the Azure, the ability to request OpenShift clusters actually built inside of AZ. If you didn't know, AZ is actually the main CLI interface that you can do to request different resources from Azure, which is pretty neat. It has a nice little workflow to it, and then you'll be able to kind of just spin up instances. I will say, from my first experience using Azure and trying to get OpenShift up and running on it, hey, Lost Algorithm, how you doing? It's good to see you hanging out with us. I will say that the quotas and the ability to understand Azure compared to the other clouds, there is a little bit of a difference. So you will have to spend some time learning the differences between Azure and all the other clouds in general. And it's just a fair warning, as somebody has to do this quite a bit. I had a pretty rough time trying to understand all the different gotchas and turning on different services that weren't on by default, asking for quota limits or quota increases and things like that. It wasn't obvious to walk through. Paul, do you have any advice when it comes to this kind of stuff?
Yeah, so the advice I have is to, when Paul says to you, hey, I've done this before and I wrote up the exact steps you need to go through, you actually look at what I wrote and don't just ignore me. That would probably be my first piece of advice. And if you let me go ahead and share my screen,
What'd you say,
show
Paul?
you exactly what I'm talking about.
Still not following you here, Paul.
I assume that's JJ trying to be funny.
Yeah, it's true.
All right. So my team, the Managed OpenShift Black Belts, have an internet website called Ninja. Mob is obviously the initials for Managed OpenShift Black Belts, and Ninja goes with the Black Belts theme. And so we can put that in chat. I don't know how to put that in chat. Thank you, Lost Algorithm. And so one of the very first items here is a getting started on Arrow. If you want to watch me do it, you can click this. If you want to just see the exact steps, I have it here from getting the Azure CLI installed to getting everything going. So there was a couple of things JJ talked about. One thing is making sure you have enough quota. And so this gives you hopefully the hints that you need for what you need for quota. And if it comes up short, I have a thing right at the end that takes you through creating a support request to get your quota increased. Because that was probably the hardest bit to figure out, is exactly what you needed quota-wise, because you need to know how many vCPUs for what types of instances and in what location. And so that's a quick little bit of a hint to get there. And the rest of it is like, make sure you have the right providers set up and setting some variables. When I write these docs, I write them in a specific way so that you could literally copy and paste them into a bash script and they'll just do the whole thing for you. But I also want you to sort of see what the steps are, which is why I don't just do a script myself. So you create an Azure group, and Azure groups, resource groups, are incredible. Basically, when you create an Azure resource group, anything you create inside of that resource group will be deleted if you delete the resource group, which is really great for complex environments that you want to be fairly ephemeral. If you've used Amazon before, and you probably have, you've probably hit that thing where you can't get a VPC deleted because there's a random network interface attached to something that you don't remember, and it's really hard to track down. With Azure, you simply do AZ group delete, and it will just delete everything and cascade all the way through, which makes things so much nicer. So once you have a resource group, you create some networking, pretty obvious. And then once you have networking, you then Arrow cluster. And as JJ said, that is just I should zoom in. That is just a command here, right? Arrow create, you say which resource group you want it in, the names, you pick your subnets, and you give it a pull secret. And that pull secret basically ties it back to Red Hat so that you can pull Red Hat certified operators and access the ISV marketplace and stuff like that. If you don't provide a pull secret, you'll still get a cluster. You just won't have access to those things. And you can add that later if you forget, which is fine. Once it's up and running, you get a couple of commands to get a console URL and your credentials, and all going well, you are then in OpenShift. And from then on out, it is just regular OpenShift. So you can then deploy apps, whatever, and then cleaning it is as simple as, here I delete the cluster, but then delete the resource group. You could actually just delete the resource group and not even delete the cluster, because that will get cascaded through. So that's the easiest way to get a OpenShift cluster up and running in Azure. And it is fully managed by Azure and Red Hat. So you don't need to care about worker nodes. You don't need to care about recovery. You don't need to care about anything like that. It might come time to upgrade it, and you say, hey, Arrow, time to upgrade my cluster. And it will get upgraded for you at the time of your choosing. And it is all automated, but there is SRE teams there that are responsible for making sure the upgrades complete successfully. And there are SLAs and all sorts of stuff. JJ, you okay?
God, I just realized when I was doing the work, I deleted the resource group that had the cluster inside of it.
No, you did not.
And I did. I just
JJ.
I'm an idiot.
What is
I'm
wrong
such
with
an
you?
idiot. I don't know, man. If you bring up the TMUX session, you'll see me just realizing it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to unshare my screen, and you can share your screen and share your shame.
Yeah, so here we go. Oh, geez. I was like, hey, I got it on. Why is there nothing here? Okay, that's the right command. Son of a bitch. Oh, yep.
Do AZ group list? Did you really? Is this really something you did?
It's really something I did.
Oh, JJ, I can't even be disappointed, because this is exactly on brand.
I'll go ahead and that's a good point, lost algorithm. I have done
This is prod. This is our prod. Literally, having this cluster available for this stream is our production.
I've actually done that in prod too. I've actually deleted stuff too in prod too.
I would believe that. I mean, we've all done that. But that doesn't mean I can't give you crap about it.
Yeah. So I will say though, this is actually a good opportunity to kind of talk about spinning stuff up inside of Azure too. I've been trying to figure out a way to do it programmatically, right? Because with me having to do some of the work I have to do for my developer advocates, I've got to find a way to do it programmatically. And it turns out there's something called service principals inside of Azure, which is robot accounts. Is that a good way to describe it? Like, how would you describe
effectively, yeah. Service principals are accounts that you can have do things for you. That because it's like a service account, it doesn't require 2FA, etc., so that you can actually give credentials to a robot. I think you can do username password based, or you can do token based, depending on how you like to roll.
Yeah, it's but the interesting thing is by default it gives you something called contributor rights, and according to what I've read, contributor rights isn't enough for AKS, which is the Azure Kubernetes Service, which I'm worried is built on ARO or Arrow is built on top of AKS, or is that me being? It's not at all. Oh, no. Okay.
Yeah, OpenShift is a Kubernetes distribution with extra things on it, in the same way that AKS is a Kubernetes distribution.
Okay.
So it would not make sense to build in the same way that like OpenShift on IBM Cloud isn't built on top of AKS. It's its own distinct thing.
I'm not 100% sure that's true.
It is absolutely true.
Okay. I was trying to be clever, but I guess that didn't work either.
No, it didn't.
So let me go ahead and let's go back to your
oh god, tell me we're not going to live debug your service principal issues.
No, we're not going to do that. I would not put that in front of us.
All right. Hey, but before you do that, do we have a cluster of some sort? Do you have a Rosa cluster? Do you have a IBM Cloud cluster?
Yeah, I got clusters all over the place, just not on Azure. I was going to spend this few moments to actually go through what you did on your I was just going to spin up another cluster as myself, just kind of show those steps that you showed earlier. Because if anything, it's just an opportunity to see that it actually does work.
Yeah, so we can do that, and then maybe while it's spinning up, we can maybe play around with a Rosa cluster or something, and then come back to it. I think it'll take about 30 minutes to deploy.
Ninja, here we go. And also, am I choppy for anyone else? Because I see my thing dropping every once in a while. But
you and your
who's that guy?
Yeah, who's that guy? This is your PF Sense box running on a 286 XT, and you forgot to hit the turbo button.
I'm not though. Look at that. Like it's not. I'm watching it. I can't figure out
how am
why.
I? Do I look okay?
Yeah, you look fine.
Is it just JJ?
It's just me. I don't know. Technology, man. I really do need that streaming box. Anyway,
I don't think it's your box, man. I think it's your connection. It's your PF Sense running on a 286. It's absolutely that. Oh, thank you, Lost Algorithm. You look great too.
Yeah, boo. So what's a pull secret, Paul?
Yeah, so a pull secret is a way to register your cluster to the to Red Hat, so that you can pull down Red Hat images and operators and things from the ISV marketplace. So you should go ahead and grab one of those if you're going to deploy a cluster, because it's much easier to do it now than it is to do it afterwards.
So I've learned my lesson. I'm going to do this on another screen over here.
Yeah. So while you do that, I'm going to get on the Tmux box because I haven't even logged into that yet. All right. So you've done that AZ group create. So I'm going to go ahead and continue the creation process while you're taking care of the secret. So you've
Alright.
done the AZ group create. So next we're going to create the virtual network. And then once the network is up, we'll create a couple of subnets. It's usually pretty quick. Uh-oh.
Oh, I didn't actually create it. I didn't hit the enter because I wanted to do the pull secret on there. So you're right. Yeah, I got to.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, as long as you put that secret in the path that's listed here, you'll be fine.
Okay.
Right. So that is the group created. So now we can create the network. And then we create the subnet for the control plane. And then we'll create the subnet for the worker nodes. And then we have to make a change to the control plane network real quick.
All right, pull secrets there.
And that just makes sure that the control plane is accessible for the SREs, etc. And then we do the machine create. You said the full secret is there, so let's just do that is there. And the stat, how do we make sure a file's right? Yeah, stat, look at that. I did it. I remember the file command.
Yay.
Now we do the AZ arrow create. Now we could do -- wait here and let it sit there and wait, but we don't care about waiting for it to succeed. So we'll just run this as is. Oh, you know what? I think it's actually -- no wait. So now we are stuck waiting.
That's fine.
Oops.
We can just spin up another terminal. That's fine.
Yeah, that's right.
Like that.
Yeah. So that's as simple as it gets deploying any form of Kubernetes cluster, right? Create a network, deploy a thing. What's really cool is I've been playing around with looking at DR strategies on Arrow, and you can actually use virtual network peering and peer networks between regions so that then, say, services in one cluster can directly access services in another cluster. So if you want to do like database replication or anything like active-active, there are ways to do it directly across the Microsoft like backend network, which is really cool. It doesn't do pod-to-pod communication, but you can certainly do service-to-service communication if you have a service of type node port or load balancer, and you can tell the load balancer to be in the private network, not the public network. So only things inside your network or your virtual peers can access it. So that's been interesting to play with.
Did you just imply that we need to run Istio everywhere?
There is no Istio involved.
Oh. Okay. I was trying to make a joke, but obviously it didn't work.
Oh.
Okay, so yeah, no. So I got some rows of clusters from here. I got us 4 clusters up and running. They are pretty much completely empty. I think only this one may have some IDT stuff on it. So what do you want to do?
Let me think about what we can do. So why don't you jump into, pick one of those clusters and jump into the OpenShift console.
If I actually have the correct window open. Let's go ahead and do my cluster. By the way, that's a joke if you knew what it is, but fine.
My cluster is a joke?
Well, we call the default in IBM Cloud for all clusters or my cluster, which I thought was funny if I made the default name my cluster on Rosa.
You're right. That's hilarious. I can't contain my laughter.
It's hilarious in my head. And
Yeah.
you know, I sit in front of anyway.
Dude, it's so funny. I literally pissed my pants just now.
That's graphic, but okay, it's acceptable. All right, go ahead and do GitHub. And there we go. Oh, this is the one we did our transfer on. So
That'll be fine. So why don't you, I don't know how readable that is for people, but why don't you make this full screen for a second and zoom in a little bit. So if you go to the, whoa.
That's way too big.
If you switch to the admin view, first of all, and then go to monitoring. And click on metrics. Uh-oh, dashboard, sorry, my bad. So by default, OpenShift ships with 2 Prometheus stacks, one for cluster monitoring and one for user monitoring, user workload monitoring. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One is they have different concerns and may be accessed by different people, and therefore may have different permissions. And then the other one is like from a performance perspective, and also from setting retention periods and stuff, you might care about different settings for that. So that's kind of why that happens. So pretty much anything cluster specific is viewable here in the OpenShift dashboard here. And then you can see there's a Grafana UI button if you wanted to click on that. And you can see it uses the cluster-wide authentication. So it's making sure that you are a cluster admin before it gives you access to the cluster dashboards. And then if you look for the dashboards, I think there'll be a list of stuff pre-populated. I hope. I can't really see it because it's tiny and super blurry. Hey folks at home, is it like tiny and super blurry for you as well, or is it just me? Yeah, so you can see there's kind of a bunch of existing predefined dashboards you could be looking at. So like the use methods are always good ones to look at. So look at the use method cluster. So do you remember what use stands for, JJ?
Nope. I don't think I ever knew. That does not sound familiar.
I think it came out of Google. And of course, use is really easy to Google for, right?
Absolutely. It's like Googling for chef.
But
chef
it's like,
cookbook.
yeah, it's like
easy.
Utilization something. It's basically saying, let's look at the things that may affect users, not just look at like random metrics like IO weight, which IO weight might be an interesting metric, but it doesn't necessarily tell you what's affecting customers right now. Right? So utilization, saturation, and errors. There we go. Thank you, Lost Algorithm. I love that we can just flap our mouths about things and Lost Algorithm will actually go and Google them for us and actually tell us what it really means.
I know, right? This is great stuff. This is really good stuff.
Yeah, so really this is really saying, okay, this is stuff that may actually be affecting your cluster's ability to do what it's supposed to be doing in an efficient time. So that's kind of, this is all built in. You don't have to do anything special, and it's all backed by disk and managed by the Red Hat SRE team. So this is the cluster metrics. If you pop back to OpenShift itself.
Oh, OpenShift, not the other one. Okay.
And then you look at, go back to the developer view. and go to the topology of project A. So, there we have that super stupid simple app. Now, if you click on monitoring here, you'll see monitoring that's specific for things that are happening in this project. So you can see there's a very tiny amount of CPU being used to the point where it's giving weird scientific notation to designate that it's so damn small. But I think it'll also show us memory usage, again, pretty small, although 250 meg for a Python Hello World, sure, why not? Bandwidth, clearly bandwidth is 0 because it's not really doing much. If you were to set the timeline to be really low and like refresh and zoom in and like slam away at it, you'll see those stats changing, but it's such a basic Python app that who cares? If you know your way around Prometheus, JJ, you almost clicked on it and then went back. There's a metrics. And if you have your favorite PromQL queries, you can actually create them in here, etc. So you can kind of create your own basic dashboards, etc. directly in here. So pretty useful to get basic metrics.
Nice.
You know what's missing from here though? Where are my logs?
Good question.
So you can go to your like topology. You can click on the deployment. You can view the pod logs, but this is like pod at a time kind of thing, right? Yeah. Which is okay if you only care about looking at what one pod is doing, but it's not what I would call useful centralized logging. So we have a couple of options. In ROSA, at least, we have one option is to configure our logs to go to CloudWatch.
CloudWatch?
Yeah. And you can actually configure that as an add-on in your underlying cloud.red hat account. You can also set up, you can also request the elk operator and basically log everything into an existing elk stack. And you can also, if you have an existing elk stack or you have an existing Splunk, there is some resources you can set to basically say, hey, here's my Fluent D endpoint, or here's my Logstash endpoint, or my syslog endpoint. Just send it all there. So there are a couple of options there, but because I think a lot of enterprises tend to have pre-existing stuff for this, the default is to not attempt to force an elk stack upon somebody. So we have a couple of choices we can do here. Well, so before we make any choices, why don't you have a look and see if that cluster's ready?
Nope. Oh,
well. So we could attempt to deploy the elk stack and get that working. We could look at something else I've done, which is pretty interesting, is set up Thanos. And Thanos actually lets you store your Prometheus metrics in object storage and then access them from there. And so that's a way to sort of get longer term storage for your metrics. So you might have a couple of weeks worth of super high density metrics, and then you might, in your Thanos, set retention periods to like lower the density of your metrics over time. And then you can also access the metrics that are in object storage through Grafana, kind of the same way you would regular metrics. So that's a couple of things we could look at doing. We could look at using Thanos and S3 and create a secondary metrics endpoint. And that's interesting because you could do multiple clusters and view them all from one place. Not that we would probably have time to do multiple clusters right now, but that is where you can get to in that. Or we can have a shot at the elk stack and get that up and running and see some centralized logs happening.
Well, if we spend the time with the S3 bucket and Thanos, right, and get that up and going in that foundation, then in theory, couldn't we just like install something simple on here to push these logs to that Thanos instance and get the unified?
Thanos isn't logs. Thanos is metrics.
Oh, sorry. Oh, did I not understand you then? Because I thought.
No, yeah. So I was talking about two topics, and maybe I wasn't being clear. So there was the logging topic, which is the elk stack, and then there is the metrics topic and federating our existing metrics into object storage.
Yeah, I think we should do that one. That's the
metrics?
one because then if we have time, we can inject this one over into that and see a unified. We
can give it a shot.
Yeah.
All right. So if you open up mob.ninja. And if you zoom in a little bit so that Lost Algorithm can actually read your screen, you'll see under ROSA, there is a deploying ROSA. No, where I'm looking for metrics and monitoring. Under metrics and monitoring. So we have the two options, ROSA and arrow there. So click the ROSA option. And this is basically going to tell us what we need to do to make this work. I think there's a bunch of YAML files, so you'll want to clone the repo down locally.
Formatting.
What's wrong with formatting? Huh, there we go. That's all right. We'll work around that.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and go into stream dir 7.2 2 grab these two things.
Are you logged into AWS?
Yep.
Yeah, and you'll also need to log into the OC cluster if you want to grab the OC secret.
All right.
And remember to hide your screen when you do that so that you don't get hacked again.
Yep.
Because last time somebody did take a screenshot and then manually type it in.
Go. Let's see, what are we doing next?
So are we logged in?
Yep.
All right, just do a OC get projects or something, just so we can make sure that we're connected. Cool. And then there's need to install. You don't have JQ on here? Come on, JJ.
I know, right? Like that's just embarrassing.
Are you serial? You serial right now? I'm sure we've used JQ here before. You must have somehow.
I know,
lost
right?
it.
Yeah. I don't know.
You know, if you used Ansible to manage your infrastructure, you wouldn't have this problem.
I could, but you know, I like to show the pain and suffering that I live in every day. There we go.
There it is. All right, so we are creating a user.
We need to update the S3 policy to create a file. They called that.
What? No, what are you doing?
Update the S3 policy JSON file with the orange.
Oh, I see. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. So edit S3 policy, copy the ARN.
The whole thing or just this thing?
Just the ARN itself. Yeah, just that. We could filter that and grab it from the output, but I think I just wasn't that enthused when I wrote the doc. Lost algorithm. No, I don't use Ansible on all my boxes. I'm pretty lazy. I do use it for automation on the internets for AWS accounts and stuff, and I use it to spin up Rosa clusters and some stuff like that. But I certainly don't use it on every machine.
Do I edit this one?
If I could read, I would tell you. Yeah, dude, it's like so blurry.
Really? From my screen, like watching the restream, it looks fine on my side.
Well, you're seeing your local copy of it. You're not seeing the remote copy of it.
So no. Like the see right here, this is now gross, but that one looks fine. I have no idea what's wrong with this.
Yeah, it's showing you your local share. It's not showing you what Restream is seeing.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, it occasionally comes good again and then goes blurry again. It's super bad. Anyways, we'll work with it. What we're saying, update S3 with the ARN. Can you just, yeah, I can't. I seriously can't make out heads or tails of it. I'll look in the tmux. Yeah, that is the correct place. Yeah.
Okay.
Do we want to try me sharing my screen?
Sure.
See if it helps. All right, give me 1 second to get the right bits up. Share my screen. Share screen 2. All right, how does that look?
Yeah, you took it away.
Oh, weird.
A little bit of squinting, I can make it out.
Oh, I can zoom in. How do you make the bottom window bigger? Like I don't care about seeing the stuff above it.
Oh God. Hang on.
Hang on, let me just create a new one. Where are we in stream?
Yeah, so last argument, that's exactly what we're doing. We're both logged into Restream, and then from Restream, it goes out to the different platforms we use.
Wait, what?
It doesn't have. No, I didn't put it 2021 in front of it. I just put the date.
Really?
Because I was trying to make it fast so we can get it going.
How'd that work out for us?
It never works out how I want it to. Never does.
All right. I don't know how good that looks, but it's probably good enough. So you updated the S3 storage. Okay. Oh, was it docs? Browser federated. Cat. Yeah. There it is right there. All right. And so now we're going to create our storage account. So this is creating a bucket on S3. And then we have to create a access for that. Oh boy. Need to fix that. Yeah, that dash looks wrong. Oh God. Bucket. Oh, huh. Because of the formatting, it's turned the dashes into something weird. All right. So that said that the Thanos user can access the bucket now. And so now we need to get the account key and secret. And JJ, you'll want to do this because we don't want to do it.
Yeah, hang on. Print off OBS to see if my things will work better.
It's not OBS, it's your BF Sense.
It's not. I'm telling you. The stats don't tell me that. If anything, it's fine. I really don't have no idea. I put that in that YAML Thanos store credentials.
Yep. All right, so while he's doing that, I'll get the project created.
Do I need to change the bucket and the access key also? Yes.
Yeah, you need to make sure the bucket name matches, the key and the ID match.
All right, that should be good.
Okay, and so now we can do you know what? Not that I don't trust you, JJ, but I'm going to do cat Thanos store credentials, but I'm going to pull it off screen. Okay, string data, access key looks good. Is your default region set to US East 2?
It should be, yes.
Okay. In that case, I think we are good. So let me pop this back over here, pop back on the side. Wait, is that the name? 1 second.
No, it's called like Thanos receiver. What you put down?
MB was my Thanos matrix. Okay. Oh, right. That's the account or the bucket. Uh-oh. My Thanos metrics. Yeah, JJ,
What did I do wrong?
you didn't update the bucket.
Yeah, I did.
The bucket is my Thanos metrics.
Oh, the username is Thanos receiver. My bad.
This is why I double check JJ's work.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now I think we can go ahead and apply it. It'll scream at us if it's mad.
All right, so my network connection's a 10 out of 10 now. For some reason, I'm orange, which is weird.
Yeah, well, you're kind of, even your face and stuff is blurry for me.
Really?
Yeah, like it's like a low quality encoding that's being done or something.
Oh, no, it just dropped again. God damn.
Yeah. PF Sense, man.
I'm telling you, it's not.
You can be wrong as long as you want, but I'm telling you it's PF Sense. Well, it's the CPU on your PF Sense box. Okay, so we applied those. So next we're going to enable user workload monitoring, which I think is actually enabled. So this is a OpenShift config thing. So if we run this, we're looking for enable user workload. Must be top. Right at the top, enable user workload is set to true. So on interesting thing to learn, in ROSA, it's enabled by default. In Arrow, it's not. So just a little tidbit. If it's not there, that's the step to add it, but we don't need to. So we can now check that it's actually running. And so here you can see in the OpenShift user workload monitoring namespace, we have the pods running, which are the standard Prometheus user workload stateful set and Thanos ruler. And if we do a kget, if we do that, that's PVC instead, we'll probably see. Nope, there's no PVCs. Anyways, so now we've done that, we're going to go ahead and deploy Thanos store. And so we can do a cat of that real quick. Or let's do a S of it. And so it's going to create service accounts and stuff. The service account is really what we care about. And this is the thing that's going to store the metrics in S3, right? And so you can see it's grabbing the store secret from the secret we already created. So let's go ahead and apply this. And then we need the Thanos receiver. And so that's the thing that's going to receive metrics from Prometheus and then give them, and it's going to give them to the store gateway to actually store it. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And I did note here that we should be securing the API endpoint for this so that random things can't send metrics in. And there is documentation on how to do that. There's OpenShift has a built-in OIDC connection thing for all your service accounts and stuff. So you can basically on any kind of API or web dashboard, you can apply your OpenShift credentials to it through an OIDC proxy, which is super useful. And that's how, when we went into Grafana before it went back and authorized us. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add remote write settings to the cluster monitoring config. And so we have to find the right spot here, which unfortunately is going to wrap it. So right, instead of doing an edit here, and being very hard to read, we should cmc.yaml, cmc.yaml. Come on. See what I did there? YAML. cmc.yaml.
That is really gross.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's one of those things where you end up with YAML inside of YAML inside of YAML. And so we're looking for, do we have right here?
Most algorithm said it best. YAML inside of YAML inside of YAML. That's illegal.
Yeah, it should be illegal. Ugh. Is there not a... I was hoping I had figured out a patch command or something to do this, because this is super gross. Check if there... Let's try this one. Yeah, see, we can at least do the user workload monitoring pretty easily, because that doesn't exist. And so if we look at here, it's a little bit simpler, because the config file doesn't already exist, but it is still YAML inside of YAML inside of YAML. So that is at least the user side running, so we can verify that in a second. And then finally is the Thanos querier. And so the Thanos querier is what we can use to query for the metrics. And it basically acts as a Prometheus API that talks to the Prometheus store instead of InfluxDB or whatever else. So we can go ahead and just apply that. And then finally, we're going to deploy our own Grafana, and we're going to use the Grafana operator, which means we first of all need to apply the Grafana operator. And so if you look at this guy right here, so when you're in your OpenShift console and you go to the operator hub and you install something, it effectively creates a subscription record. So here. And so we can just say, well, we can do that and do it straight from the command line. And that way we don't have to jump back to the console. But first of all, I just noticed that there is a random 7 in there. So I'll clear that out. And then we'll go ahead and apply that. Oh, I missed this first. I pasted the wrong one. All right, so that is our operator running. And then we're going to create the Grafana. And, oh, and it's saying something about changing the password. So let's edit this file real quick. Admin AJ's secret. that. And we'll go ahead and apply it. What? We did the operator though.
It's not happy.
Oh, did we miss the CRDs? Oh, interesting. Okay. So let me think about this. Oh, Grafana operator. Install Grafana. Oh, maybe it just hasn't finished deploying the operator. You get subscription. Hey, JJ, do you want to share your screen and just pop back to, maybe we should just,
Yeah, and actually, no, shit, no, I'm still dropping things. I'm turning everything off over here.
because it's not your
No idea why
machine,
this-
dude.
It's not though. I've checked my daughters are networked just fine. Like my daughters, they're streaming things fine right now, pulling stuff down. And my fast connection and my upload connection are both over 200 megs. So like I have no idea what's going on.
All right. So let me unshare my screen. If you share your screen and go to the dashboard and find the Grafana operator and get it installed, and you need to install it in the current namespace we're in, which is Thanos-receiver. And I will be right back.
All right. Thanos dash receiver and Grafana. All right, I'm installing it now. And if I start dropping out, please tell me. I'm really am trying to figure out what the hell's going on here, and it is very frustrating for what's going on my side.
Well, I can read it right now, so you're okay.
Okay. Like I turned everything off. Nope. I dropped again. All right. Create an instance. Or are you're going back over here?
Just come back over here. Okay, get TRDs, grep. Okay, that's better. Let me go ahead. If you want to unshare, I'll share and keep going.
All right.
Share that.
I hate computers, Paul.
JJ, they hate you. Yeah, your face and stuff has gone blurry again.
I genuinely don't know what the hell's going on.
I mean, I've told you several times now what's going on. You just refuse to believe me.
There's no data. Like there's no proof to that. None of the stats are telling me this. And I have no other option. I don't have a router other than this pfSense router. If my daughter can pull down HD YouTube videos.
That's going in the other direction, isn't it? That's down, not up.
I guess it's true.
All right. So we just applied Grafana. So if we look at kget pods, we'll see a Grafana deployment spinning up. And then we have a set of dashboards. And so basically I ran this script here. Oh, really? You're gonna do this? You're gonna do me like that?
Mm-hmm.
Let me do that. Oh, I can just do cat generate. Okay, I can just cat it here. So basically, I'm doing kubectl get config maps from where I know the dashboards live in the main set of dashboards, and then I'm reformatting them to be what the Grafana operator expects here. And the output of that is in this dashboards.yaml. So we can go ahead and apply that. And that's going to take all the dashboards that we were showing earlier and stick them into here. And then finally, we can run this right here, which is going to tell us how to access our Grafana. And all going well, boom, here is Grafana.
Nice.
And root JJ's secret. And we're logged in. I don't want to save anything. Now, let's have a look at dashboards. I don't know how this thing works. So here's all the dashboards that we stole, but they're all going to show up as empty because we haven't actually pulled the system metrics yet, unfortunately. But we should be able to go to, first of all, let's go to data sources. And you can see we configured the Prometheus data source here. And you can see it's going to Thanos Query, right? So that's our spot with our metrics in S3. And then where's the explore? I think this is what we want. Oh God. Prometheus. No metrics found. Uh-oh.
Something's broken.
Oh no. Is there really no metrics going on here? Okay, so we can do kget pods. Wait, there's a pod missing.
Did you drop it?
Data source set to Thanos Query. Kget stateful set. Kget deployment. Did we not do Thanos Query?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I remember you saying it.
Yeah. Let's go back to here.
Maybe we should ping the guy in the video. See if we missed something.
Right. Thanos Query is a deployment in the Thanos receiver namespace. Kget deployment. Just do a. Maybe I missed it. Maybe I said it but didn't actually run it. Kget deployment. Well, that's better. Thanos area. All right. Well, that looks like it's coming online. Actually, while we're here, let's look at Thanos receive. Okay, so that looks like it's running in Thanos store. And that looks like it's running. So if we pop back to here, you know what we should have done? We should have come to here, scroll down and hit test. So it's saying data source is working. I bet before it was not working. So now if we come back to explore, Oh, it still says no metrics found. When in doubt, refresh, right?
Exactly.
I have a feeling I might need to just attempt to edit. Let me just pop that doc back up. So there was we're editing the config for cluster monitoring. It'll be easier at full screen. If edit will give me a better view. Nope. Okay. So it goes after. Oh God. Well, I wonder if I can do this. Get CM. Dash N dash O JSON, and then do JQ dot data, and then dot. How do I do that? Remember the secret to doing a dot in the key in JQ?
Oh, Jesus.
YQ on here? YQ might be easier.
No, but I can install real fast. Hang on.
No, it's on here.
What is? Wait, YQ is on there, but not JQ?
Right?
Sounds like something it sounds like a machine I'd build.
Okay. Maybe our answer is to do this. Grab that and do echo. Nope. Did not like that. There. Look at this.
Wonderful.
Now I can call this config.yaml. I can edit this. And I can remote I and make it add here. And you can see how they have in this other remote write, they can rewrite the labels, change capacity, change toleration, stuff like that. But we're not going to worry about doing any of that. So let's save that as is. Now we need to recap that. Like so. And we do vim of CMC. Where's here it is. So just gonna delete all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Big YAML hype. Oh. YAML. Save that. Oh, actually, I can move this to cmc.yaml. Edit cmc.yaml now. I can kill that. I can kill that. And come down to the bottom. Try and find the go. So we're doing it the hard way, but we'll get it there. Data config.yaml here. And then do the change that to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got that the right number across. Oh, I think I did. So now we have config.yaml rewritten as something we can kind of read inside there. We have our remote write in there. So now we should be able to, then we do the get of it, k apply n monitoring ffdmc.yaml. What? Oh, really?
It's never easy, Paul. It's never easy.
Here we go. Pop this back. I think that'll still work. Wait, algorithm. Okay, let me pop back to where we were. So basically, we're taking the in-cluster Prometheus and we're telling it to rewrite to Thanos. And Thanos is then storing the metrics in S3. And then the Grafana that we just spun up is going to be retrieving those metrics and graphing them from S3. So we've effectively said, let's take the on-cluster metrics and store them off-cluster as well. And also in somewhere that's pretty cheap to store metrics, which is S3. And then we'll be able to access them not just from the Grafana we just created, but in theory, we could put all of our clusters into that S3 bucket and then create like a super Grafana to collect the metrics from all of the clusters. Or at least that's what we're trying to do if we actually get it to work. So let's pop back to my instructions here. Push that there. Push this here. Switch back to Grafana. And hopefully now we're going to start seeing some metrics. No metrics found. Shakes fist at cloud. Okay. We should see in A-N OpenShift metrics, OpenShift cluster metrics. Pods. No. But Azure, Grafana, Prometheus. There, I think that's what I'm looking for. That should have. Well, oh, Prometheus might reload configs without needing to be updated. Now we can do grep for Thanos. Interesting. JJ, why are we looking at your weird arm? There we go.
Yeah, I knocked out power by accident and everything went screwy on me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's fun times over here. My
All right.
damn it, it did it again.
What are you doing?
Trying to fix my stuff, man.
By unplugging your power? That's a little extreme.
Yeah. I've just got to redo all this. I don't know what's going on, Paul.
Do you want me to tell you what's going on again?
No, it's not it. I'm telling you, it's not.
All right. I mean,
So
it's not your machine, is it? Like, your machine's running fine. Like the CPU and stuff on your laptop?
Yeah, it's pretty much, yeah. I don't.
I mean, I feel like at some point I should just stop saying, JJ, it's your damn PF sense, because you're never going to believe me for some reason. I have good news. We have a Arrow cluster.
Yay.
So we can pop back to our Arrow quick start and we can finish off accessing it. There's our console. And then, JJ, you're going to delete this pretty soon, right? So I'm just going to fix the whole lot. Right. So let's pop into here. And then admin password. Let's do this.
Did we have the same problem?
We'll delete the cluster.
Did we have a problem when we were doing OBS Ninja?
Yeah, we did.
We did?
Yeah, because it's the same problem. Your PF sense is not handling the bitrate. And it's not necessarily about the bandwidth, it's about the bitrate of the stream.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are logged into that Arrow cluster. So why don't we pop back and see how quick we can run through this here. So let's go to stream 7 arrow federated metrics. Let's create a storage account. And I'll store credentials. Stick this in here. And then we'll apply this. We're effectively doing the same thing we just did on the Rosa cluster, just with Arrow.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at our cluster monitoring config. You can see the config is empty. So we can run this command here. Right, and that's enabling user workload monitoring, which, if you remember, was set on by default on the other cluster.
Mm-hmm.
Here you can see it starting to spin up. So we're going to do the same thing we did before with the Thanos store, Thanos receiver, and then we're going to edit our cluster monitoring config. You can see we have a easier config in this one, so we can just edit it directly. I won't care about that. So let's save that. And remote write to the user workload. Does this exist? Probably not. So we can create it like so. And again, that's just user workload config. That's just telling it to send it to Thanos receiver. And then we're going to deploy the querier. We're going to deploy Grafana. And let's do that via the GUI because I had problems with it earlier. So operators, operator hub. And then what was this? We wanted Thanos receiver. Grafana. Continue. Install namespace. Wait, your USB-C hub thing?
Yeah, so I have an extender, right? The USB-C hub thing that goes into my laptop because it's a Mac, and why would they ever want to put Ethernet ports on a Mac? You know, that doesn't make sense. So I'm thinking that it might be that's causing the drops because it is warm, right? So that could be it. But I mean, That's dumb,
It's
right?
PF sense.
Oh, and I just cut myself off. Great.
Oh yeah, you're all frozen up now. Did you
Yep.
unplug it or something?
I might have.
Oh, JJ. If only you had somebody on the line with you who was telling you what the problem was. All right, so that's the operator installed. Where were we? Here. And so we're going to, again, edit this by Thanos, find the password, change it to something secure, JJ secret. And then we're going to apply it. Oh, no, we have to apply this guy. Yeah, and then we're going to apply this guy. Our dashboards, and we're going to get the Grafana route. And then we're going to log in. Yeah. Get available. Okay, get pods.
Nope. Still not happy, huh?
Poor JJ. But the my screen share is still good though, right? Lost algorithm. It's just JJ.
God.
Yeah. Hey, you know the difference between your connection and my connection, JJ? PF sense.
I have nothing else to put there. Like I have no other router in my house, like at all. Yeah.
I mean, you've got your Google Wi-Fi router.
I mean, I guess I could.
Which is exactly what I'm doing. At least you'd be able to verify things. I mean, don't
do
it right now
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you've
Fine.
already broken yourself enough partway through the stream.
Fine, I'll do it. I'll finally. I'll be so pissed if that works. I'm not.
You'll just pretend it didn't work. You'll never admit it. Like, no, it totally wasn't it. But for some reason, it's working now. I couldn't tell you why.
I restarted I restarted my cable modem and it just started working. I don't know what was wrong.
All right, so we now have this cluster at the same state as we had the other cluster. Hopefully, whatever was happening on the other cluster is going to be working here, though. So we come back to our dashboards, Thanos receiver, pick. Let's just pick this one. No data.
I don't want to lose my OpenVPN.
Oh, Prometheus. Come on. Let's go to explore. No metrics found. Something has changed because these worked last time I ran through these. This is really frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, logs, Thanos store gateway. Okay, so it was able to create the blob store, which means it has access to the metrics, to the blob store. And then we have Thanos receiver, which is claiming to be connected. And then we have Thanos Viria, which is talking to the store API. And I was getting successful on there. So k get ns grep user workload. Let's pop into here. Let's see, project, k get pods. So here we see Prometheus here. K logs blah. Prometheus. Thanos. No. K pods. K rollout. Restart stateful set. Prometheus user workload. Pods. When in doubt, restart. Kget CM. What is happening? Is there a user workload monitoring config? Kget CM. YAML. Config.yaml. Remote write is set to Thanos receive. How are our pods going? Okay, I don't know what's wrong, JJ. We might have to call this a fail.
We've succeeded so many times, though. Like if we had just said, "Hey, we're just creating a cluster on Arrow," that would have been a success, and we could have called it a win. But you flew too high to the sun, my friend.
We did. We did fly too high to the sun. So annoying.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I guess I have to switch out my router today now.
Yeah,
And
JJ.
so, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna rewire some of the shit too, because it turns out my Stream Deck
JJ.
just stopped working.
Just don't rewire all the things at the one time, because when you're troubleshooting, you want to change one variable at a time.
I rip out everything and start all over. That's how I troubleshoot, and I never get anything fixed.
Yeah, I know. All right, well, let's call it. At least we got a successful cluster up.
That is true.
And we did get all this stuff online. Just for some reason, the user workload config isn't taking. So I don't know what's going on there. Let me just have a look at one more thing. Okay. Let's see, kget grep user monitoring. Yes, OpenShift monitoring. Kget pods. ACM. Secret. Config. Grep. KCM. Monitoring config. Okay. a second.
Did he figure it out? Is it making sense?
I might have it figured out for this guy. Which one am I monitoring? I just didn't add this on the BS cakes. I think that might be my problem here. Okay. Project. CM. Okay, edit CM. Workload monitoring config. So this one is right, but we might not have anything running, so it might not be anything to be sending metrics over. Config.yaml. So that's cluster monitoring. Here we have user monitoring. And what's that? Something buggy in my YAMLs that I used. I think that's going to give us that, and we'll give it a minute to figure itself out. Where did my cluster go? Oh, did I drop my cluster? Ugh. Quick start. Guy again. Oh, JJ to sleep again.
Huh?
See, I can't tell if you're asleep or if your screen's frozen up.
Yeah, no, but
Or
I
if
also
you're
have to
staring at
switch
your
out a
phone.
bunch of machines. I gotta. Well, I'm checking the Google Wi-Fi connection because I'm gonna have to turn that into my main router, which all my IPs are gonna change now because it's the 86 network. Like it's becoming a whole thing now that I'm thinking about it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Jesus, I just can't win. I just can't win.
Can't win. Well, you should do it without changing too much and just check that it's going to fix it before you actually change your entire network.
I
Just
don't know
saying.
if I can. That's the problem.
What was I going to do? Oh yeah, I was going to switch to developer view, skip, create a new project, test, and then just create something from the sample. Just Apache, that should be quick. Create.
Hey, how do you create those samples?
What do you
Can you
mean?
create those templates?
I have no idea. Probably.
No.
There's probably some
Any?
service or operator that is there that you can mess around with.
Yeah, so you can have like that already there, like, hey, this is like your scaffolding or whatever.
Right.
Speaking about making that a
Oh,
stream.
look, that fixed it.
Yay!
Oh, I wonder if now I've figured out what I did there. Let's go to CTX. Okay, get let's see, workload monitoring, CM, user workload monitoring config. Let's see, okay, get ns grep monitor. Right. So let's do legacy project that. Okay, edit. Monitoring. Scan. Edit. CM. Monitoring. Really, CMD? Come on, Paul.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
Okay, it'll be in my docs. Let's go back to my docs. Let's try and be sensible.
Never.
Pop back to Rosa. Okay. This guy right here. Ugh. Right. See, that looks correct still. Apart from it being all funky. That was, we saved that config.yaml, right? Really? Okay, this one, I don't know what's wrong here because this one definitely looks like we did right.
Hmm.
So let's try the user workload monitoring. Here. Yeah, this is definitely wrong. Yes. That'll at least get that working. So we should see. I don't think this will have started working, but hopefully, no metrics found.
It's okay, Paul.
Cloud. All right. Well, we made a valiant effort. Let's do get pods. Let's see project. OpenShift. Pods. Logs. Prometheus. There we go. It's at least now configured to send metrics, which it wasn't before. So maybe it's just going to take a minute to actually see some metrics. All right. Now we can call this successful because we did get the Rosa cluster, the arrow cluster working correctly. And we can see it's not just new metrics. Is it? No, it's just new metrics. Actually, it's hard to tell if that's only new metrics or if it's just a short-lived cluster, because it's a short-lived cluster. But anyway, now we have our metrics going to that one place. We can call it success and stop before we
go any farther.
make it worse.
Yep.
Cool.
All right, Paul.
Well, good job. We got there.
Yeah.
So pretty good, actually. Like we got a Rosa cluster spun up. We got user metrics set up in Arrow, and we got the metrics also getting sent to object storage, which is pretty cool. Oh, you know what? The last thing for us to do is, let's do this. AZ Arrow group.
List.
Arrow group. It's not giving us. That's fine. Let's do this. Name.
All right. And
that's going to shut down. That's going to shut down the cluster. It's going to shut down the storage just created. Is going to go away, which is pretty useful because you don't want to be paying for it if you're not using it, JJ.
Exactly. Cool. Well, hopefully next week. Yeah, hopefully next week we'll have something a little bit more. Not JJ screwing up left and right.
You just froze up again. Your life. It sucks so bad.
Oh, such a. All right. All right. Bye, Paul.
Bye, JJ.